Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Elevate Your Game. As you can see, we're going to be talking about some wonderful subjects that's going to increase your financial education and literacy and all the things you need just to survive. I know, we can all level up, especially in our journey in financial freedom and success. Financial freedom comes at a cost for some people. It comes at going after their career journey, going after their education, and going into debt, going after their housing, going after their, where they want to relocate to. And sometimes it means that you are going to struggle a little bit just to get there. But we're going to learn from an expert. As you can see, my special guest is Mr. Joaquin Thompson, and he's going to be joining us and talking about just some tools, some steps, and sharing his story on how he became a financial guru and wanted to come back to our communities and re-educate. Again, this is Elevate Your Game. I'm your host, Mrs. Denise Parker. I'm the Internships and Careers Director, and thank you for joining us. Welcoming us to the stage, I'm super excited. I met him at our Black College Expo a while back. He came and visited and saw the event in Atlanta and then said, I got to be a part of this. And he did. That was a year and a half ago or so, 2 years ago. And then this current year, when we just did our expo, he came, he showed up, and he's now starting to see all the vision that he has that he wants to share with our community. So introducing to the stage, Mr. Joaquin Thompson. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Denise. How you doing today?
I'm great. Tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, how you do it.
Well, my name is Joaquin Thompson Sr. Consider myself a financial literacy expert or a financial literacy coach. I work with students and their parents because although we target students as our primary target audience, we really realize that a lot of students have parents that also are in need of additional education when you start talking about financial literacy.
I love it. And how did you get started in, everything that you're doing? What's your background?
Oh, my background, graduated from Howard University, and after graduating from yeah, I always had to throw the HU out there because people are like, where'd you go to school? I'm like, Howard, don't play. We're gonna keep it civilized. But after graduating from Howard and starting my career, I noticed that no one really told me about or taught me the foundational blocks of financial literacy. So I didn't know how to buy a house, brought my house incorrectly. I didn't know how to buy a car. And when I say buy a car, I mean purchase a car from a dealership, not like buy here, pay here or anything like that. Didn't understand taxes. So I'm just out, claim like how many deductions do you claim? I'm like, I got 3 kids, but do I do 3? Do I do 0? Do I do 1? Didn't know anything about it. Didn't know about investing. So I was making money and started hearing about 401ks. Nobody had taught me about a 401k. So I was just green. And I got in a lot of trouble, a lot of financial trouble, ended up filing bankruptcy, experienced a repossession. And I think those are what I call the dark side of financial literacy that a lot of people don't like to talk about, but those are the points that teach you the most.
I love it. I love that you have some texture to where you've been. Like a lot of people, when they first think about financials, they think they have to have so much. But what if you starting from the bottom and then now you're going to the top? I was just having a conversation with my niece just the other day about she was listening to some song she heard and she was just loving this song, and it was a Nas song. And she can hear every lyric, and she loved that she can hear the lyric. And I told her, I said, most of the great artists who are now highly successful, they shared their music as a blueprint to their success. And if we can take that same energy that entertainers do for our community and for the world and show the blueprint on financial literacy and education, just the step by step, how much more you think our community will be successful? Our community, Black, brown, young, older, single parent, foster, have more than one situation going on, hustling on the side, has that, corporate job, but also want to start that business. There's so many different factors of who we are, and we don't fit into one box. What is it that you want to share, and why are you a part of our platform now?
I'm a part of your platform now because when I sat down and then looked at this process, like this problem, I'm a scientist by nature, right? My first degree was in microbiology. So we're always looking for the source, like what was the cause? What caused this? And when I look at the research and I look at the data and I've looked at how we've progressed over time, it all points back to the youth, right? So we're teaching young people all of these different subjects. And I'll use myself, for example, as I was going through, K through 12 and then going to, undergrad and then going to grad school. I learned a number of different topics, everything from genetics to when I got my MBA. Now I'm doing accounting, I'm doing finance. But the one thing that they didn't teach us during that entire period of time was how to understand the components of financial literacy. So the reason I'm getting involved with the Black College tour is to make sure that students understand is as you're getting all of these things that you may or may not use in the future, I'm giving you something that is 100% surety that you're going to be using this every day of your life while you're here.
I love it. I love it. Every day of your life while you're here. Financial, money, investments, assets, gaining assets. Nowadays you can't say to somebody, what's your name, what's your sign? You got to say, what's your name, what's your sign, what's your FICO score, and how many assets and how many liabilities do you have before we get involved?
Right.
Because it's the truth.
We're joking about it, but I was talking to a dentist about a year ago, and he was just sharing with me that dental school is one of the most expensive schools to attend. So what he's saying, he's been a dentist for 25, 26 years at this point, and he was saying that what he's noticed in that trend, dental school, medical school, many of the professional schools you're starting to see where students are not in a position where they can go out and start their own practices, because when they come out, they have so much debt. And he was saying that the average student loan for a dental graduate is right around $400,000. So if you're coming out with $400,000 worth of student loan debt plus interest, and say you meet a young lady that you're attracted to, and she's in dental school. So when you all get together as a couple, you're talking about, upwards of $800,000 before you even get started with your life, before the kids, the cars, the marriage, and all the other things that come along with that. So it's a daunting task. And even the research is showing that it's having an impact on the number of people that are getting married, the number of babies that are being born. So there's a lot of data that's tied to where we are, and it's not just theory.
And it's not easy. Can you hear me real good?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. It's not easy to go through this process of figuring it out. Now, you mentioned before that you went into bankruptcy. You had money, but you lost money quickly because you were what? What were you doing that caused you to be so financially frivolous?
I think what happened to me was I didn't realize the impact of debt, because what I got in the habit of doing, which a lot of people do, is I got in the habit of being stressed out about things, and I was just constantly robbing Peter to pay Paul. Like literally, like I'm just, when people say paycheck to paycheck, I'm like taking this paycheck to just stave off, a collection, or using this paycheck to do this. But in the interim, I'm still not really pulling back, because it's like, hey, I deserve to go on a trip. I've been, doing all of this stuff. I'm just stressed out all the time. Yeah, let's go to Florida. Yeah, let's go to California. Let's do whatever. So I'm not really putting myself on a self-imposed, financial diet. I'm still trying to live. And at the same time, I'm already behind. One of the things that you'll find out when you create a budget is, when you create a budget, if you follow the budget, it'll tell you right off the bat if you have a surplus or if you're already at a deficit. Many people are already working from a deficit. And if you're already working from a deficit, now you're adding additional credit card bills and other liabilities to it. Are you making bad choices again about the type of car that you buy? Or you have a car, you want to trade that car and get another car. Just making, for me, what happened was I was just making bad financial decisions without a basis. I had no basis for some of these decisions that I was making. I had a perfectly good car, trade that car in to get another car. It was no need to do that. I mean, the car that I had was perfectly fine. I just wanted something else. So once you get in the habit of making a series of these bad financial decisions, then you get embarrassed because now you feel like, I got a great job, I went to a great school, but I'm struggling. But you really don't want to let nobody know that you're struggling. So we take, extensive measures to make sure that people don't, quote unquote, know that you're struggling. And it just makes it good.
I love this. How would you say one can stop the cycle, the madness of keeping up with the Joneses to increase their finances, to increase their funds?
Yeah, it's really self-reflection, Denise. It's no different than the person that says, hey, you know what? I'm fed up with being this size. I want to lose weight or I want to get in shape. It's no different than the person that says, you know what? I am going to go back to school and finish my degree or whatever. It's no different, because what you have to do first is just make a decision. So once you make a decision that you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, the next thing you want to do is create a plan. Once you create that plan, if you don't know all of the steps, it's a ton of information that you can go to if you know where to look. And that's where our company comes in, because a lot of people say, well, hey, you can go to YouTube and get this information. Hey, you can go. I'm like, yes, a lot of things you can go to YouTube and do, but the thing you want to keep in mind is it's faster and more efficient if you're working with somebody who's already experienced that and can tell you how to do it, right? So I've always, if I was a junkie, right, I want to talk to somebody who's a junkie and then recovered. I don't want to talk to a doctor. I don't want to talk to a therapist. I want to talk to somebody who's been where I'm at and can tell me exactly how to get from where I'm at to where I want to go.
I love it. I love it. It's so much that you can share. What is the most easiest tip that you can share with somebody just to get them started? Because they have so much in here that's stopping them. Right. I don't have enough money. I'm living paycheck to check. You're hitting all the notes.
Right.
Okay. However, how do we just start? Just get up there and just like, I joined, got into what you're just saying. I joined a small investment group just to get educated. And it was so awesome just to hear the words of the education. And it's a Black-owned group, and I love supporting our own. And I wanted to be around people who look like me. Sometimes when I'm hearing about financial education and literacy, and it's 9 times out of 10, it's not us teaching us.
Correct.
It doesn't reflect what I can see myself doing, so to speak. I would love to see more young people, more people that are women, and people who live in diverse, multicultural, or the kind of experiences, have an answer to it, because we're not just one reflection of being Black, and brown and marginalized, so to speak. We are multidimensional. We have so many things. I was a single parent for a long time. I took over a family home. I had my own business. I have my own business. I worked in corporate, and then I also had a small business. And now I'm focusing mainly on my small business. These are all things that make up me. And I'm a go-getter. I can make anywhere between mid-range to high range, and it just depends on the energy of what's going on. I'm not a flashy person. I hold on to things for a long period of time, but you're still trying to get to the point where you have savings, you have investments, you have this. And now that I've joined this community talking about wealth, building it for yourself, I found that I'm educating myself. So what can you give as a person to start, how to start, and what's the easiest thing that they can do? We can say put money in a bank account, but guess what? The return on their investment on bank account, they ain't nothing.
No, that's 0.01.
Yeah, 0.01, not 0.1%, 0.01.
Not 1%, 0.01.
So what can you share with how to get started?
I would say the easiest step to get started is just really creating a really, some people I call it a dirty, just a rough budget. Just because here's the thing. Once you decide that you want to improve your financial literacy, the first thing you have to understand is what you have coming in and what's going out. And that's what most people stumble at. Most people just pay bills haphazardly. They know they got a Visa bill. They know they got a car loan, but they don't know the dates. They don't know the amounts. Most people don't know the interest on all these different items. So what I always tell my students and the people that I work with is like, let's create you a budget first. And the budget that we've developed on our team is, it's not a budget where you just set it up and it's just for that 1 month. We set up budgets over the next 12 months, because when you set up budgets over 12 months, then you can see where your money is being spent. But when you look at the total after 12 months, now you can look and say, man, I had no idea I was spending $3,000 on just cable. Like I wasn't thinking like that. But when you can see a 12-month snapshot, now you can start to take action on different items to figure out where can you cut back. Because the main thing is, if you're in trouble, you're going to have to cut back. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no way to sugarcoat that. It's like something has to be cut out. And when I first started my journey, my kids were in middle school and I was working on some different things, and cable was a big thing, during that time. I cut cable. That was like the first thing. I was like, we don't need cable. We'll watch VHS movies. We'll watch DVDs. My kids had a fit. My wife was like, oh, this is a little drastic, but I'm like, it's saving money that we could put somewhere else and start paying some things off. Because the thing that you're after is, you're not really trying to increase just your financial literacy. You're trying to get to a place where you can have peace of mind. Because when you're stressed out, it's taking up so much of your brain or your mind space that you can't focus on being, you mentioned small business. You can't be creative when you're constantly thinking about, man, I hope the repo man don't get my car. I hope I can make this next bill. I hope I can, all of that's up here and it's running constantly, like nonstop. It's like you driving your car with the check engine light on. So
what I find people doing too is not communicating to one another.
Oh, no doubt. No. But part of that is fear, though. You see, we don't want. See, it'll be easier for me to just say, "Hey, Denise, you know what? I'm struggling. Like I'm probably like 30 days away from a bankruptcy. They're probably going to take my car. But how many times in your lifetime have you heard anybody say anything about something like that?" So one of the remedies that we use is you got to make light of sometimes tough situations, so that you can deal with it. It's just like the person that has a alcohol or substance abuse problem. The first thing they have to do is do what? Get you to admit that this is who you are, right? So let's just start there. My name is Joaquin Thompson and I'm an alcoholic. So once you do that and you come to the realization, like, this is who I am and I need to work on it. It's the same thing with your finances. People are continuously still going on the girl trip, still going to homecoming. Like, instead, it's easier to go to homecoming and go further in debt than to tell your best friend or your college roommate, like, bro, I just don't have it. I'm struggling. I just don't have it. So it's a hard conversation that you have to get to the point where you hit rock bottom, or you get to a point where you could just, stand on everything and say, hey, you know what? I want peace of mind. Because I know for me, that's all I wanted to just have peace of mind. I
love this. So if after you hit rock bottom, or you're a person who got an understanding of their finances, because I find that there's a thread that kind of, weaves in between the person who has a lot to the person who has little. Have still some similarities in how they still see money, invest, receive money, earn, attract. All these things. I mean, I've seen myself go from a little bit, a lot, a little bit. Where is it coming? But at the same time, I never was worried about whether I was going to lose, because my mind was already focused on, I'm always in the winning. I'm always gaining. These are just little obstacles. I live in one of the most wealthiest cities and high cost cities in the nation. Los Angeles is very, very extremely.
Oh, no doubt.
Take a pause. Like, I'm like, what? I remember when I got 7 and I was going to go see a friend who was ailing, and I just said to myself, I can see you one time. Literally, I don't think I can drive there every day and do this, because I will be bankrupt just trying to get on the freeway for $7, a gallon of gas. So
Correct.
being honest is number one. I'm hearing you. Just being honest, communicating, and that can be the first step of healing the process of what's next. What's next? You have these courses that you're going to teach, and tell us a little about this class. What can they learn? What are you going to share? How are you going to dig deep so that we can just unveil it step by step?
Okay, so what we do is, again, we focus on fundamentals, right? So this is just punt, pass, and kick, right? So we start off with credit, because credit is the cornerstone of everything else. I mean, even though some, financial literacy experts, they'll say, hey, you need to get your budget, which is true. You have to get your budget. But one of the things that is really crippling a lot of individuals right now is just poor credit.
Mm-hmm.
So what we do is we don't talk about credit. We don't just say, hey, you have to have a high credit score, a good credit score. That's too vague. Again, we teach the fundamentals. What are the 5 components that go into a credit score? Once you know the 5 components that go into a credit score, then it makes sense how you manage those 5 components and how it impacts your credit. Now, once you get that kind of solidified, then we move on, and then we talk about, things like investing, right? Because now you want to get to the point where you can start to, you want to save, but the part of the key to investing is you don't have to be trying to, be a multimillionaire. What you should be really trying to do is start to get to the point where you make enough income to cover all of your expenses without a lot of stress related to it. So that can be from, you got linear income, of what some people call active income, your 9 to 5, but that's, you work a certain number of hours, you get a certain amount of money back. But what we also are teaching our students is like, okay, that's fine, but you also need to start looking for passive ways so that when you're working, right, you have something else that can be potentially making you money. And it doesn't have to be a lot of money, but it is making you money that will help offset some of these expenses that you have. So we talk about investing in different ways that you can go about investing. And again, it doesn't have to be, okay, I'm about a rental property, and then I've had some students, they've done things like invested in concert tickets. They learn how tickets work. Tickets wholesale. I know people gonna want to see Usher. I'm buying them at $400. I'm selling them at $800. It's a wash, right?
Yeah. Or taking tennis shoes that you have collected, reselling them for a higher value.
Right, but just being focused on that, just having something where somebody can say, hey, how much is that? Like, oh, it's $10. You brought up the book. That was one of the reasons. After I wrote the book, here's the thing that really, I didn't realize it before I wrote the book, but after I wrote the book is retail is $14.95. Okay, that's easy enough, $14.95. But what if you get somebody like a school or a church or a nonprofit organization to say, hey, we would love to buy 100 books, but we can only pay you 50% of your list price.
Yeah.
That's fine. Why is it fine? Because I invested in me and purchased the book at a much lower price point. So when you buying things the right way, and then somebody approaches you, because I've had several schools approach me about, we need 50% off, 60% off. And I'm like, that's fine. Just how many books you want? And it never goes away. Like this book at this point is 17 years old. I'm still selling it. Getting ready to re-release it, same content, because credit, budget, money management, all those things are timeless. So I would say start with credit first, and then you have to find a way where you can create additional income, because you're going to need the additional income. For one, you're going to need to create you a savings. And when you create your savings, this is not a savings just to say I'm saving, but it's building up this muscle to say, 5% of what I make, I'm putting it over here. Like regardless, and paying ourselves first. You hear people say that, but still people, when they're struggling, they're so fearful of missing a payment or not having money, but you got
Right.
to get in the habit of paying you first,
Right.
and then you start to pay other things out. So those are credit is first, investing, finding a way for you to make additional funds is always second for us.
Mhm.
Then we go into things like taxes. People are still in the mindset of getting a refund when they file their taxes. Now, I just talked to a tax professional yesterday. Young lady wants to buy a house, but she wants to get a refund. They don't go together. Those things are that's misaligned. Like, so if you tell me that I'm trying to buy a house, but I want to get a refund on my taxes, they don't go together.
Mm.
They just don't, because you have to be able to show income in order for you to buy a house. But once you buy the house, there's a tax strategy that you can use the next year. You could just flip it, and now you're back to writing everything off. You got your business, so on and so forth. But it's just certain things that people have to learn that are the basics, and it's changing your mindset and the way that you think. So getting a refund on your taxes, our counterparts, when you listen to them, you never hear them talking about getting a refund,
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
that's not the goal. The goal is to make money. Right? They
Mhm.
don't mind paying taxes, because if you're paying taxes, that means you made money,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
If you make a lot of money, you pay a lot of taxes.
Right.
That's just how it goes. But you're not looking for a refund. That's counterintuitive.
It's hard. It's hard because there's so much things that are at stake when we're talking about how money flows and how it comes to you. Some people are living day to day, month to month,
Correct.
check to check, or they're thinking long term. Like I'm literally working on my long term goals, which is that retirement. I say in quotation marks because I don't ever see myself retiring, but more so
Right.
being in a state of freedom, like being in a state of peace and where I don't have to worry about having to have a certain amount for me to go physically go out and go search and go get, as
Correct.
opposed to the passive income, the investments are coming in. And yeah, I started a little later in doing all this. That's only because I was realigning things. And so it's never too late to start. Just start. Just start. Just start. Just say, hey,
Just start.
I love people. I love hearing from people who have these great cushy jobs and still feel like they can't afford their life. I mean, some of my the people who I know and interact with on a daily basis, I mean, they're making 6+ figures a year, and they're still feeling like things are too expensive. Things are expensive,
Correct.
period. We live in the most expensive country to live in, because it's all about consumers, capitalism. Everything is being sold and at a higher rate if you live in a certain state versus a certain area of the state that's different from other parts of the United States. So you really feel like you're being overwhelmed, but you can still do something. I love teaching. I love having investments in things that I want to pursue. Like if I love a certain product and it's on the stock market, I looking at their stock is how much is it? Great. But now I have a strategy. Now I'm like, I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna go in harder because I see like the tech stocks that are going like out the wazoo. This AI thing is happening.
Correct.
I want to be in on that because in next 5 years, if I just hold on to these four little things right here, I'll be set.
But I mean but see, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, right? Because young people and their parents, just that little snippet that you just talked about. See, when you invest in a company like tech, or you investing in AI, you have to be able to sit down and think through, like, you know what? This is where we're headed. It's so many things on the wall that's saying this is the direction that we're going. Like, this ain't rocket science, right? Because we're already dealing with Siri on our phones. You ordering things, digitally. Everything right now is pretty much in a digital form. Money is going into a digital form. So why wouldn't you be taking the time out, like, okay, so if everything's going digital and Apple is the biggest, company in that space right now, and they're investing in AI. I think I should be doing the same. And this is one of the things that I always tell my students. This is something that I always look at. If a billionaire is invested in something big, right? Building a new stadium. And I'll give you an example. The Atlanta Braves moved from inner city Atlanta to the outskirts, which is like right outside of Atlanta in Cobb County, right? So we're not in Atlanta, we're a suburb of Atlanta. Big uproar, people like, oh, it's really not the Braves, and I hate it, and I won't go. But I'm like, so they took this undeveloped land and they said, look, this is what we're going to build. We're going to build a new stadium. And around that stadium, we're going to build shops, eateries. It's going to be, places that you can live. We're going to build condominiums. We're going to build apartments. All of this is going to be in one complex. Now, what does that tell you right there? I'm like, it's going to be a lot of people interested in that, right? So when they started selling the tickets for the Braves, I said, you know what? I'm gonna buy some Braves season tickets. I've never been a Brave. I've been in Atlanta 25 years. I moved here from DC. Never even thought about never even crossed my mind. But I'm like, I said, these people gonna want to go to that stadium. And they're gonna want to see it. They're gonna want to experience it, right? Because even when money is tight, guess what we never stop spending on? Entertainment.
We
always want to be entertained, right? I start buying tickets to the Braves. I start buying tickets to the Falcons. But then when you buy these tickets, here's what happens, Denise. When you're a season ticket holder, they say, hey, because you're a season ticket holder to this, we'll give you access to pre-sale tickets for that. And I'm like, oh. So Jay-Z is coming to Mercedes-Benz, the On the Run tour with Beyonce, and you telling me I can buy tickets 3 days before everybody else. Right. So guess what I start doing? I'm buying the tickets. I buy the tickets on Wednesday, like that Friday. I put them back out there and sold them to the point where I went free. My wife and I went to the event free. I made money. And then I took that money and guess what I did? Brought something else that make money. Right. Like I'm investing in Nvidia. I'm going to buy some Apple stock. I'm going to buy some other things and just keep doing it that way. So that way your money is called a velocity of money. And sometimes people don't understand you have to make your money circulate because they talk about the dollar only circulates 6 hours in the Black community, whereas some of our counterparts, it circulates 20 days, 15 days. You have to do that within your household. So as you get an income from whatever source you get it from, 9 to 5, entrepreneur, whatever, you have to be able to take that $1 and put it into something. It's like what I call putting it in the spin cycle. So I'm gonna buy a ticket. I make money on the ticket. I'm gonna buy some stock. When I make money on the stock, I'm gonna buy some crypto. So now the money is just bouncing around and it's all making money.
Yeah. It's true. And even when you get them tax refunds, for those who do get them tax refunds. Hey, if you need an investment, that check comes, flip that right into some really sound lucrative things, and it's kind of scary. It's easy. It's really easy to do it.
Oh yeah.
You just gotta start and just join a class. Find out you got this cash flow camp. You're gonna be announced to. Okay, so we'll have to email you. I put that up there. So real quick, tell them how they can find out more about this cash flow and what they're going to learn. You told us about credit, investing, and then applying it, right? So what else are they what they're going to do?
So what we're going to do, what makes our program, because a lot of people say, well, hey, a lot of people teaching financial literacy. The thing that makes us different is this. We have two unique selling points, right? One, I touched on earlier. Even though it's targeted towards students, we're also inviting parents, right, to put their egos aside and say, hey, you know what? I need to learn more about credit. I need to learn more about budgets. I want to learn how to buy a house. I want to learn more about tax strategies. I want to learn about investing. I want to learn the correct way to purchase a vehicle, right? So that's one of the unique selling points. The other unique selling point is this. A lot of people sell courses and programs and they tell you all what you can do. We took it a step further. We said, okay, if we're going to talk about tax strategies, I have some that I use, but I'm not the expert. I'm gonna bring in our team. We've already partnered with people that are experts in that space.
Right,
Not just your accountant, but people that are accountants. But in addition to being an accountant, they own businesses, they file business taxes, they know business strategy. So we're bringing them in. We know people that do business credit. A lot of people are focused on personal credit. Now we know experts that we can bring in and say, okay, this is how you set up your business credit. LLCs, a lot of people got side hustles. You mentioned that earlier. Why have a side hustle when you can just set it up, set your LLC up or your S Corp? But what if we brought in somebody to show you step by step all of the ways that you can set it up, and then the documentation that goes with it. And then once you have that documentation completed, guess what? Now you can take that to the bank and get money for it. And who would you want to learn from? People that we've already worked with. We have some clients that we've worked with. They received over $100,000 in just business credit. So my philosophy with my team is this: if I could do this at 57, right? Imagine one of those students that I met this weekend, 18, 19, and I'm saying, hey, I'm going to show you all of these things while you're in college. So by the time you get out of college, you got a 700 credit score, you got personal credit, you got business credit, you have a personal checking account, business checking account, and I've showed you how to invest in different things. It could be stocks, it could be crypto, it could be your own business, but you know all of this at night. Just call it 21.
You come out heavy.
And not just that, but now the things that they want to discriminate against you to say, well, yeah, we would lend you money, but you have to be in business for 2 years. You can set the LLC up, and I'm gonna give you another good point. Like my grandson, he's 13. I use him. He's my prototype, right? So all this stuff that I'm sharing with you, he's 13. I called American Express earlier this year when he turned 13 in December. I said, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put him into this play at 13 because I had already heard American Express tell me that, hey, you can add an authorized user to your account when they turn 13, right? So my grandson is 13. So right now he has 3 months. He already has 3 months of perfect payment history with American Express Platinum card. And they sent him the American Express Platinum card. Now I didn't give him the card. The card is still in the envelope. But the thought process is this: from 13 to 18, he's going to have 5 years of stellar credit history, 5 years of it. He's going to have an LLC that's 5 years old. He's going to have a business account. He's going to have business credit, personal credit, business checking, personal checking, business credit card, and personal credit card at 18. So when he goes off to go to college or he get an NIL deal or whatever he does, he's above whatever he wants to do now.
And he know how to manage that money when he gets that NIL deal.
Correct.
Not spend it, get the league minimum or get the, the promotions and products and all that stuff you get from the cash. And then all of a sudden, as an athlete, you in debt before you even get out of, because you out there spending. He'll have this mindset, money's going to come. I just want to make sure it just continues to flow. It flows because you get educated.
Correct.
I love it.
Yeah, and exposure. Because I've taken him to, at 13, right? I've taken him to 3 different closings. We have adults that have never been to one closing. I said he's been to 3 different closings.
Going to see a home being closed because you sell homes also, you do real estate.
Correct.
I love it. Okay. Me and you are gonna have deeper conversations.
Okay.
I already hear the wheels spinning. You already are exposing our young people to the opportunity at our expos. You're at our Black College Expos now. You started in Atlanta, and now we're ending our season in Chicago. And I'm looking forward to seeing you out there. And I really want to let the audience know that we do 16 markets across the nation. you are a national organization yourself. You have set yourself up to help people nationally and eventually internationally.
Correct.
But we gotta help our people first. We gotta help the home.
Look,
help our home first.
Hey, I got to take care of home first. I don't know about everybody else, but I'm like, I got to take care of home. I got to.
I love it. I'm
obligated to that.
I'm looking forward to having deeper conversations with you so that we can create in our virtuals some workshops that can be offered to our audience, and they sign up like we do with our medical terminology, that we offer it as a free, but they have to sign up and they have to be they have to get the spot. We don't just give it to you. We give you the spot if you meet certain requirements. And that way we can offer some workshop classes right with NCRF on our virtuals, because it's a great way to let's teach them how to fish, and it will increase more awareness. And so that we can come back and we create more and more opportunities for our young people and the parents and the family members to break the cycle, to break the insecurities of financial despair. Now we're having financial legacy and freedom, and we're not afraid to live to the next and give to the next, because we can leave it behind and know it's going to grow, not leave it behind and know it's going bye, it's gone, left it just melted away, or it was left to go, not be taken care of. We want to be able to leave businesses, homes, assets, and financial legacies behind so that it can continue to go. That's the only way we're going to survive as a group.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. I believe that wholeheartedly.
Any final words you want to leave with us?
I would say just get involved, because our motto right now is, educate, elevate, motivate, right? Ooh. So what we're trying to do is we're taking a group of people, and I know sometimes, people have to make business decisions, but I'm sharing with everybody, they need to tap in. If you don't tap in with us, tap in with somebody, because the stuff that I'm telling you about, once you get in position, then everything will open up to you. I mean, but you have to be in position. So why not teach young people that? Because they learning everything else. And a lot of these courses that going to take this semester or next semester, they're not even going to use that in life. We're talking about life skills that in our community are not being taught. So that's a huge disparity, because we're not talking about it at the dinner table. We're not talking about it in our groups. And we do have pockets of people that are talking about it, but it's not on a broad scale. So what we're trying to do is bring it to the masses, help as many students as parents as we can. So you could definitely just, shoot me an email if you're, serious or you want to get, involved with us. We're going to have some live financial summer camps where we're going to be teaching financial literacy over a 2-day period, all day Saturday and all day Sunday. And then we're going to have some virtual events as well for people that are not, in the Atlanta market, but they still want to take advantage of the course. We're going to have those as well. So I would definitely encourage your audience to just tap in and send me an email, and I'll be more than happy to help them out.
I love it. Well, this has been a wonderful treat. You can follow our programming on NCRF TV. It's part of a series of just amazing events. If you see our logo, if you see our brand, you are seeing everything. NCRF does the Black College Expo, the Latino College Expo, and we have tons of events that we're pushing out. And this is part of it. This is one of our legs, is financial literacy. But follow us on our socials. Our YouTube channel is NCR TV, and we are going to be presenting more opportunities in breaking these cycles. We're super excited for having you, Joaquin. Thank you for sharing everything. All these nuggets are amazing. And until next time, let's keep it pushing. Let's keep it from college to beyond. Thank you for joining us.
That's what's up. Thank you. And thank you for the opportunity.
All right.
Hi, I'm Denise Parker, National College Resources Foundation Director of Internships and Careers. I'm super excited because we've been helping our students to get opportunities with our corporate partners and our sponsors to make sure they get internships and early career pipeline pathways into the jobs of their dreams. It's awesome because we're not just helping them with resume building and interview tips, but we're also helping them to figure out how their major is mixed into what they want to do in their passions for life. And it's finding a purpose. It's not just a job to build up skills, it's also to find their career journey. Not everybody knows what they want to do when they get older. Not everybody can figure it out along the way. It might take 20 years, it might take 15 years, it might take 5 years. But guess what? Our organization, NCRF, is here to help them, follow them through, to find that support that they need from the resources that we have from our wonderful corporate partners. And I'm here to advocate for you as an internship and careers director.